What were some of the problems that you had to overcome?
So many times, moms cry. She's not having fun. The session is lost.
Has this business changed your life?
There were times that I almost gave up.
We're basically making minimum wage by taking pictures.
You cannot make things work if you're not all in.
What has been your biggest month that you've ever had?
That was almost
amazing. How would you like to get paid for doing what you love by taking photos of families? Well, that is what my next guest does. She is an award-winning family and newborn baby photographer from Los Angeles, California. Her name is Ani Tsatourian, and she's joining me now. Ani, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Tim.
So you have some beautiful photos on your website, absolutely gorgeous photos that you have taken of newborns, maternity, babies, motherhood, children, family. And if we're to go inside and just take a look at some of your newborn photos, I'm really blown away by how beautiful some of these photos are, just so creative. And I can imagine that this didn't just come instantly. Can you just tell me a little bit about how you arrived here? Take me back to the beginning when you started your photography business.
I've always been fascinated with photography. Since I was little, I remember seeing Annie get us postcards in a store when they just came out in the 90s. And I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. There is a newborn baby in a shoe or something like that that was on the postcard. It was always just a form of art that I admired, but I never thought of it as a career. I took it as a side fun classes in college. I studied it almost all the way as a second major while I was studying digital animation. And then when I had to quit my job during the recession in 2008, 2009, I started thinking, oh, what can I do because it was very hard to find a job at the time. And I thought, why don't I give this a try? Because I love this. And I was studying arts and animation and all of that, but my heart was with photography. So it was a hard beginning. It was not easy. It was recession. It was me being an immigrant in a new country, not having a large circle to tell people what I'm doing now, not being a mom myself and wanting to be in this niche. There were a lot of challenges and it took quite a bit of time, but I have no regrets. And I really am, I must say, proud of myself a little bit of being able to make it this far and not give up, because it was a difficult journey. I think for a lot of photographers, it can be a difficult journey. Any creative person trying to make it into a business, so many, unfortunately, are not able to get through those difficult times. And I'm just happy that I'm still here.
So in the very beginning, when you were maybe looking for that very first paying client, what were some of the problems that you had to overcome? Did you ever feel impostor syndrome where you felt like you weren't truly qualified to be able to charge money for your first photo shoot?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that I felt it. I felt that way because I wasn't trying to charge as a fully established photographer. I always made it clear that I am building my portfolio, and I charged according to where I was in my career. And honestly, because social media was not as advanced at the time, this was 2009, 2010, the imposter syndrome was not that big of an issue at the time, because you weren't able to constantly see other photographers do beautiful work and hear their success and feel like you're not making it in this business, or that you're trying to tell somebody something different or lie your way through, I guess.
Yeah.
It was not
any part of it intimidating, like camera settings, for example, on your very first photo shoots?
Camera settings. I think the more of a challenge was learning to work with newborns, because camera settings were familiar to me since I was taking all of the photography classes in college. So I had experience with camera equipment, with studio lighting, learning how to set up all the lights and working with the equipment. But working with people and working with newborn babies that are so fragile and not having a child of your own, making sure that you're doing everything safely and making sure that you can be trusted by the mom, and at the end be able to actually deliver beautiful photographs. That was the biggest challenge, I think, for me, because I can be a little bit of a perfectionist. It's putting the two together, because photographing in a studio setting, photographing a still life, and then photographing a child, this is where you need to learn to bring the two together, because this is where the challenge comes in. Even knowing how to use your camera and how to use your lighting, now you're photographing a subject that's very fragile, and you need to know how to pose. You need to know how to light this particular subject, the child, so that the photographs come out beautifully. And that was the biggest challenge for me. Yeah.
Can you remember how much you charged your very first paying customer?
I think it was around $200, if I'm not mistaken. And
Okay.
it included, at the time, I was not giving away digital images. It was prints only. And even now I have a sort of a package like that. But it was I think 5x7 prints. And then they had the option to purchase more printed products. So
your very first customer, you charged them $200. And how much do you charge today for a photo session?
Today, my base, like the minimum fee, starts at around $1,400 and goes up from there. And sometimes it reaches 5-digit numbers, and mid 5-digit numbers to 15,000. I think was the largest sale that I had, largest project. So it can be anywhere in between that spectrum, but the minimum is 1,400 where it starts at.
Amazing. So you've taken a business from zero to where you're being paid top end dollars in your field. Has this business changed your life?
Absolutely, yes. As you get to a point where you've dreamed of being, a sort of a feeling of freedom takes over your life, and it does make you feel good. It makes you feel at peace, and it makes you feel comfortable that you're actually able to support your life and plan for your future, and be a little comfortable with what you're spending, and how you can grow your business, because there were times that it was very, very difficult, and I had to count every penny, and there were times that I almost gave up because I calculated that I was making less than minimum wage, and that was a very, very difficult realization. But at this point, yes, it's a very good feeling. It makes you feel achieved, I guess, in your life, and comfortable.
That is so good to hear. So you went from a place where you were basically making minimum wage by taking pictures to charging multiple thousands for a photo shoot. What has been your biggest month that you've ever had?
A month. I've never looked at the months. Years, I think the biggest year was 2022. Ironically, I think it was because of COVID. COVID stopped a lot of businesses. It was difficult for a lot of people. For me personally, it did well. because I think people didn't have a lot of things to do. They didn't have a lot of places to spend money, and they were having babies because they were home. So it was perfect for me. 2022 was a wonderful year for me. Yes.
Yeah, it was also a good year for our online business. So can you tell our viewers, like, how big a year was it?
That was almost 300.
Amazing. Congratulations. That is
Thank you so much.
really amazing. And we're not talking $300. We're talking $300,000.
Yes.
Incredible. So
Mhm.
you mentioned the word freedom. Can you just tell me a little bit more about how this business gives you freedom?
Um, well, with every business where you're running it, you're not an employee. If you structure it correctly, it it needs to support your life and not the other way around. I think you come to a point where you need to understand whether you're living to work or you're working to live your life. And for me, it's always been important to have a life-work balance. And sometimes I lose it. I'm guilty. I get drowned. I drown in work, or I drown in creative projects, or otherwise the other spectrum. Sometimes I just want to take more time for myself. So being able to do that, being able to build your business in a way you want to live your life, and to be able to support your life and what your goals are, not just in business, but where you see yourself even retiring, how many times you want to take trips in your, during the year, how you want to work during the week. It's very important to have a structure. It doesn't, sometimes things, of course, overpower, but when you run your own business, that's one of the biggest benefits, is being able to structure it to support your life and the comfort that you're looking for.
So you take photos for your customers at very important times in their lives, like when they've had a baby, or when the baby reaches a few months old, or at the 1-year-old stage. Can you describe the type of feedback you get when your customers see those photos for the first time? Like, what do these photos that you create mean for your customers?
My biggest compliment is always, and this is probably my favorite part of this work, is seeing their reaction when they come in for their viewing and portrait design appointments. And so many times moms cry, and it's an amazing feeling to see somebody be so in love with their child, and you were able to capture these portraits for them that they're gonna cherish and love and look at for the rest of their lives. This is an amazing family legacy, and that's always the biggest compliment for me, when moms actually tear up, and I always have tissue on the table for them. So yeah, that's the favorite.
That makes you feel good. You feel really good when you see that kind of emotional response from
Absolutely,
a mother.
yes. It feels very rewarding. It feels yes, I guess it's the biggest reward of this job, and just seeing them so happy with their decision to come to me. They're there with their portraits, with where they are in their life in general. It's just beautiful to watch them and see their reaction. It's a very, very rewarding feeling. Mm-hmm.
So you're actually creating something. It's not just an image on a piece of paper. It's not just a digital file. It's actually, you're giving a mother and a father something that they're going to have, and they will cherish this thing for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. And when they come to me, I always tell them it's my work. I capture it. And some of them say, oh, it's, whatever you do, you're the creative person. I am, but I always want to make sure that at the end, they love their portraits. So I always include them in the process. There is a long consultation that we go through. I love to get to know them a little bit before the session, because little things that you can incorporate in the session, even their preferences, it doesn't have to be big things, but just because they already chose you and they know your work and know that they will like it, but taking them through the process and including them in it, it just makes it so much more personal, because at the end, it is a photograph that I've captured, but it's for them. It's for their family. It is their artwork. So it's important for me that they're included. Yeah.
Who is the decision maker in the family when it comes to buying portraits? Is it mom or is it dad?
Usually it's the mom. Most of the time, the dad is the one that's paying for it, but mom is the one that makes the decisions. I'd say 60% of the time it's the mom. The other 40, it's kind of a combined decision. Rarely it's the dad that makes the decisions on his own. Mm-hmm.
Now, if most of the time it's mom who is making the decision, do you have any process or thoughts that you go through in order to make mom look really good so that she's extra happy with the finished product?
Mom always needs to look very good. If she's in the portraits, she's the number one person to look good. Extra, it's just a part of the consultation. I take her through the process of how to prepare. And I communicate very well with my clients. I set realistic expectations with them. I don't try to blow things out of proportion, saying, oh my God, you're going to look like a model, or nothing like that I ever will say. Every woman to me is beautiful and is a model. So to me, it's more important to capture her real personality and her beauty, and to make her feel comfortable in front of the camera. So one of the key things that I always tell them is, don't worry about the little things. Don't worry about any of the imperfections that you might have or feel, because we all have them. Every woman is critical of herself. It's important that you have fun. If she doesn't have fun, it shows on her face. Yeah. I cannot change her expression, but I can tweak little things in Photoshop. I can fix her hair. I can liquefy here or there to compensate for anything that she's not happy about, but I cannot change her expression. So if she's not having fun, the session is lost. So that's the most important thing for me, is to make her feel comfortable and fun, and have fun during the session. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So in your sales process, if we're just to think about your basic package, which I think you said starts at around $1,400, do you do in-person selling, or is it something that's sold just through your website or some emails back and forth and a phone call?
No, always in person. I do not do a website online. During COVID, I only did over Zoom a few times, but it's in person because the bottom line is people don't know what they want. People don't know what's available to them. Even when they're choosing the images, they don't sometimes see the things that we notice. Why this might be an award-winning portrait, but in their eyes, if the baby is not smiling, then we'll take the one the baby is smiling. So I feel that they need to hear your professional opinion, and at least I don't like to push them in any direction, but I like to give them the information that will help them make decisions, so that they don't miss out on something, that they don't miss out on choosing images that are truly beautiful, or products that would look gorgeous in their home, or frames that will go well with the portrait that they're choosing. We even design the albums together. So it's very important to me that people come in and we sit down together to go through this process, so I can be part of it, but they can also be part of it. So it's a collaborative project, collaborative process. I want them to walk out of here happy and with portraits and products that they will love, and they will not have any doubts in their head that, oh, yeah, maybe we spent too much, but at this point, they know why they spent that money. It's not that they just spent it, but you've showed them, you designed things for them. I even show the portraits for them on their wall on the computer. So I have all the tools to make them feel comfortable with their spending, so they're happy and they don't have any doubts. Yeah.
So that in-person meeting that you're describing, that takes place after the shoot when you've done some editing, I'm assuming. Do you also have an in-person sales meeting before the photo shoot to present the packages that you offer?
Not at this time. I don't do before the session. It's all over the phone. We do all the consultations over the phone. It is something on my mind to try and see if that could be a good idea. But definitely after the session, with my smallest packages, the in-person appointment for the review is right after the session, because it's a short photo shoot. Then we do the selection right after the session. But with my full fine art sessions, because they're usually about 2, sometimes 3 hours long, it's 2 different appointments. So they come in a week or 2 after to sit down and review everything. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Did I answer your question, Tim?
Yep, definitely. Here's something that is always of interest. On let's just say your basic package, going to the least cost expensive one of $1,400, approximately on average, how many photos do you think you take during a session like that? And then how many photos are included in the basic offer package?
Mm-hmm. So the basic collection starts with either an option of 8 digital images. So these are, of course, artistically retouched and ready to print in high resolution format. Or they have the option of choosing a la carte products. If they don't want digital images, they want products instead, then a purchase of minimum of $995 needs to be made of a la carte order. As far as how many images I take, typically I show them, I'd say between 40 and maybe 60 images in this short session, because I still want them to have a say and have some options to choose from, especially if it's a maternity session. There are different expressions that, they might want to choose from. Every person sees themselves differently. So I want to make sure that they have options to choose different expressions, to choose different flows of fabric, to choose from different poses. And more often than not, they exceed the package, because there are more images than 8. They're not limited to choosing 8 images, and there are so many good ones. So they love getting more than the minimum package.
So potentially, if you are taking a lot of photos in a session, I don't know how many, like 100 or 200 photos, you're doing an initial cull. You're cutting down from the big high number and showing them maybe 60 from that that you've chosen. And then from that 60, they choose the ones that they actually want to pay for.
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what type of software do you use for your post-processing, for your retouching?
Photoshop. Bridge and Photoshop. That's Camera Raw and Photoshop. That's always been my go-to. I'm a little bit of an old school, I guess. I know there is a lot of AI tools that have come out, and I gave them a play with my travel photos, but with my artwork, to me, it's Photoshop. I do have retouchers now that work for me, and I have them do the basic things, the cleanups, the polishing the images, and then at the end I go through everything to make sure that I love it. If I need to do any artistic adjustments, then I do that, and the image is complete. But it's always been Photoshop for me.
What about your camera gear? If you had to choose one lens, what would that one lens be?
24-70 2.8.
Okay.
Always my go-to.
Yeah, a real jack of all trades, all around lens that just does everything.
Absolutely, yes.
And what brand of cameras do you use?
I've been a Nikon girl from the beginning.
Yay! Because
Oh, I love that.
Nikon all the way. Finally, a portrait photographer who uses Nikon. What actual camera body do you use?
Right now, I use the 780.
Okay. Yeah, nice camera. So with camera settings, are you using manual or do you use like a semi-automatic like aperture priority?
It's manual for me especially when I'm in the studio. I love to have control, so it's studio lights all the way, and everything is set up to go. So it's manual settings for me.
So you said studio lights. Do you mean like a constant light or a flash?
It's a flash.
It's a flash. Okay.
Yeah, strobes.
All right. If I was to take you back to kind of the beginning, at what point did you know this is going to work and I want to keep on doing this? Was there kind of a watershed moment where things just started working for you and you realize, okay, I'm going for it. I'm all in?
I've always been all in. I think you cannot make things work if you're not all in. I've always been all in, and I think that's why I made it so far. Because if it were an option, I would have given up a long time ago. So I've always been all in because I loved it, and I wanted to have my own business, and I tried to structure the business. I paid the business as much attention as I did my craft, and I always tried to do my best and pour all of it in, try to learn as much as I could. I don't think it was ever an option to give up. It was a thought. I had that thought a few times.
Yeah.
But I've always been.
What about your customers? How do your customers find you? How do you get clients?
I have a lot of returning clients, which I am so happy about because I get to photograph them through maternity, through their children growing year after year. It's really awesome. I get referrals, and I'd say after that it is Google and social media, Google, Yelp, and social media. So all avenues, I think you have to work on everything because it's never just one thing that works. And treating your clients in the best way that you can so that they come back. I think it's a very, very important thing. They drive my business.
Yeah, the reoccurring for sure. The returning customers and that word of mouth. You mentioned social media. Do you ever use paid advertising with social media?
I do sometimes. I had some problems with it last year, so we had to shut it down actually. But it brings a very small amount of business for me. But every now and then I do it just to kind of refresh things, to bring new people into the studio. But in general, it's not the paid advertising that's worked for me in the past in the best way.
So I'm assuming that today you're not offering mini sessions, but maybe at some point in the past you did. What's your view on mini sessions?
I do offer mini sessions, but I offer them maybe 1 or 2 a month. It's not like a day project like some people will do. I do this for, let's say, this all started with I'd have pregnant women that would call me and say, I don't want an entire session. I want to invest more into my newborn session, but I want a photo or 2 to remember this milestone by. So that's how it all started, that I would say, okay, let's do a mini session, and I would book a small part of the day for them. They would come in, and I still offer that for people if they ask. It's not on my menu, but it's available if somebody asks because they want one artistic portrait. And it includes the sitting fee and a credit for a portrait, $150 credit towards a printed photograph that they can choose of any size, and most of the time they will choose a nice size portrait. So they don't want an entire session. They don't want to invest too much because they want to do it for either a newborn session, or they have something else in mind, or they just don't want too many photos of themselves, but they want this one good portrait, or a family portrait, or a portrait of their child. So I offer it in those senses, but in those scenarios. However, the day-long mini session events, I've done that in the past a couple of times. They were not a success for me personally. I felt like it was more of a way to bring clients that I've had in the past into the studio, or even some family members for a Christmas event, or a portrait event of some sort. I think I've only done it 3 times in my entire career. I did not find it to be successful, but I know there are people that are making very good income on that. So I can't tell you from my perspective or recommend it to somebody. I would just say, whatever you do it well, and make sure your heart is in it. I think it's different things that work for different people, and that's what I've learned over the years, that even with all of the education that I would hear, there came a point where I understood, okay, it's very good to know all that, but at the end of the day, you have your own personality and you run your business in a certain way. So there are things that will work for you that haven't for other people, and there are things that will not work for you, no matter how successful they were for other businesses. So you need to decide what works well with what you're offering, with what your goals are and your skills are as well, because maybe I can't sell mini sessions. Maybe I'm really bad at that. So I think that's what it comes down to. Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you had to start your business over again from scratch, if you did not have your portfolio and you didn't have a customer base, but you know what you know now, how would you start your business from scratch?
I think I would start by doing a model call to build a portfolio. And with the model calls, I would offer a certain amount of credit for them, maybe some digital images, because for their time, because they're investing as well, and they're not trusting me yet, and offer a certain amount of credit for a portrait that they can purchase, or a product they can use it towards. This way I would be able to build a portfolio and have an opportunity to show them what I can do, as well as offer them some of my products, and hopefully make a sale as well.
Ani, you have truly cracked the code for creating a highly profitable family and newborn baby photography business. You make a full-time, very good living from doing it. If someone was asking you for advice, should I do it or should I not? What would your advice be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a wonderful business. It's a wonderful way to live your life and create art for other people. If you love working with people, if you love photographing people, this is definitely one of the ways of doing it. And it's very rewarding. And there are lots of clients for this. You just need to be resilient and move forward, and don't give up. But go in with your entire heart, with your knowledge. Remember to keep learning, keep moving forward, keep creating. There is always going to be moments that it feels like you've hit the bottom, and nothing is happening. Those are the moments that you really make things work, because those are the moments that make you grow. Those are the moments that make you change your perspective, learn new things, and those are the times when you become a stronger person and a more resilient one. You become a professional by overcoming those difficulties. Otherwise, it's just, you might as well just go work for somebody else.
Absolutely. Well, if you are in the Los Angeles area and you are looking at getting family portraits created by a true professional or newborn baby or older than newborn baby, you need to check out the website of Ani Tsatourian, and you can reach her at aniportraits.com. Ani, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tim. Thank you.